Hey YouTube, so this weekend I bought a trilogy of movies that are centered around the iconic villain Dracula. And you sense my hesitation here, so it's like you can kind of sense where this might be going, but I saw this bad boy at my local mall and I got it for a good deal. I got it for $7 and it's like 3 movies for $7. That's pretty cool. And look here, presented by Wes Cravens. So one would think, hey, one of these movies, or maybe even all of them, are directed by Wes Craven. And Wes Craven is one of my heroes, and I think he's one of the best creative minds in the horror genre. However, this is misleading. Okay, and that gets me to my point. The films are directed by somebody else, but if you saw this on the internet and you couldn't actually physically pick it up and look at the back, you would automatically think that all 3 of these movies are directed by Wes Craven, and you'd buy it just like that because I mean Wes Craven is the creative mind behind Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, and many more. The Serpent and the Rainbow, and I mean he's even produced good horror movies too. I liked Wishmaster very much, which is why I kept an open mind for Dracula 2000. Now the film is set in the modern day year of 2000, and it opens with these art thieves that apparently have this inside person that knows about this vault that is coveted by Abraham Van Helsing, and she's like, well, he's got to have something really, really valuable in this vault, otherwise he wouldn't have all this security. And they get this through the security like that, so it's like the security wasn't all that good. But they get inside and they find a coffin, and lo and behold, guess who's inside the coffin? Dracula, and they accidentally let him out. And that's how the whole movie starts. And there are times where this movie feels like it's trying to be self-aware about the vampire genre, but at the same time it takes itself serious in places too. And Scream walked that fine line between being a serious and good movie, but also being self-aware of what it was, making fun of the tropes. And there are tropes in Dracula 2000 that come with the vampire genre. However, it just comes off as awkward. It doesn't come off as funny or clever, except for in the occasion of 2 places. But there are moments where there are scenes that are well directed. There's my favorite part of the film personally was there's one of the main characters. I think her name's Maria, and I keep wanting to call her Mina. Let's just call her Mina because fuck it. Mina has this psychic connection with Dracula, which is explained later in the film. She has a psychic connection with him, and the way it's done is very, very clever. I thought that was like the highlight of the film for me, at least. And it's sort of like the psychic connection between Kylo Ren and Rey from The Last Jedi, where they're not in the same place, but they can kind of almost touch each other, and it's like they get close to each other, and that they can sort of see each other's surroundings too, and they're both sort of weirded out by it. Even Dracula's like, who the hell are you? When he first sees her. And of course he becomes infatuated with her, and she only wants to get away from him. And let's get Dracula himself. The most important part of the film, of any Dracula film, is who you cast as Dracula. And Gerard Butler is cast as Dracula. Now, I think Gerard Butler is a great actor. I think he's been good in a lot of other things, but at this point in his career, he's not a good pick for Dracula. I'm sorry. It's like he gets like the point where I get it. He's sexy and seductive. He's got that down. I'll give him that. I get why somebody would want to just sleep with him, despite even outside of the whole thing where he can hypnotize people, and he's just not intimidating. He looks I mean, he walks around in a trench coat like he's a vampire of the week from Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 1. So it's like he's not scary. The only time he even comes close to scary is in the beginning when he's first woken up and he's like all old and decrepit and rotting, and this is before he starts feeding on people. That's maybe if they kept that look throughout the rest of the film, it would have been cool. But of course, they got to show off that gorgeous face and his abs and everything. He's just wrong to play Dracula, and I don't think that's necessarily his fault. I think that he's just miscast, and I will give him this. In my mind, from everything that I've seen, he's only the second worst actor to play Dracula. So you've got that going for you, Gerard. So how's the rest of the cast? The rest of the cast is kind of forgettable. Nathan Fillion has a small bit part. He plays a priest. He's pretty good, but he's in the movie for like 2 minutes. Let's see. The guy who plays Van Helsing is probably the best fleshed out character. Besides Mina, it's almost his fault that Dracula is around, because he's the one that was keeping Dracula in the vault to begin with, and he has valid reasons for it, but at the same time he feels a sort of weight and responsibility. So it's like the actor who plays Van Helsing is pretty good. And overall, Dracula 2000 just isn't good. It's kind of underwhelming. My expectations were to be entertained, at least in a mildly sense, because of whose name was put on it. But I guarantee that he had very little involvement in this, other than maybe having a hand in the casting and who was put in the director's chair. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what the behind the scenes production was for all 3 of these movies, because it's just like, would this have been better if he had directed it? Would it have been more of the same? And I just don't know. And I'm going to review all 3 movies just to be entertaining, and who knows, maybe they'll even get better as they go on. I really hope so, because the film kind of ends promising, where it's like, okay, we're setting up a series of events that could be interesting and take the Dracula character in a different direction. And I won't spoil the ending, because I didn't know about the twist ending about his past identity, and I actually thought it was kind of, I'm on the fence on whether or not I think it's stupid or whether or not I think it's interesting. It'll depend on how the sequels treat it before I make my judgment. But Dracula 2000, have you seen it? What did you think of it? I think it's kind of, it's bad at best. It's a letdown, I think, is probably my biggest emotion that I would get from it. I mean, if you're curious about it, I mean, watch it. If you can find it for real cheap find it in a movie pack. Don't buy it all by itself. Don't waste your money. Buy it in a pack where you can get all 3 movies for $2 each. Thanks as always for watching. You can follow me on all my social media below, and comment below. Again, let me know what you thought of Dracula 2000, or if you're interested in the movie at all. What's your favorite Dracula movie? Let's talk a little bit more about Dracula, because he's a badass. Bye.